It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, thank you for joining us, folks. I hope you're enjoying the warm weather that we're getting. I want to ask you a question. When you look at the American flag, what do you think of? And, you know, sometimes we take things for granted in our lives. But as you get older in life and you see the freedoms we have in this country, and hopefully it'll continue to be that way, you wonder how we got these freedoms. Well, a lot of people gave up their lives, got maimed for the rest of their lives to protect our freedoms. My guest today, Joseph Barna, no stranger to anyone here in northeastern Pennsylvania. Joseph is 92 years young, and he's a Marine. He wrote a book called God Makes Angels and Navy Corpsmen. So when we think about patriots and what we have, there was a lot that had to be sacrificed for us to achieve those freedoms. Joe, thanks for coming on the show again.
It's been a pleasure, Sam.
How are things going with you?
I'm still kicking. I still walk pretty good.
You're amazing. You keep going. You're traveling. You're doing a lot of interesting things.
That's what worries me. I don't know whether I'm doing right.
Well, whatever you're taking, you know, we're gonna capsulize that, and we'll take a capsule every morning to be in as good spirits as you are. Joe, you know, I mentioned about the flag and mentioned about, you know, what it means. I know we have the freedoms that we have, and I mentioned this on one of the shows I did where I could imagine the pain that veterans or families of veterans have when they see our own people in the country desecrating the American flag, spitting on the flag, burning the flag. It must be terrible, terrible pains that these people have, and it's a shame we just can't put them in jail, but the point is we have the freedoms that you fought for. Let's go back to your life, Joe. You know, why did you decide, or what happened that you went into the Marines, and your story?
Well, Sam, I was inducted into the Army in 1951. I went up to Wilkes-Barre. There were 66 of us in a big room, and we were waiting to go on trains and that, when this big 7-foot Marine sergeant came in, a recruiter. He said, I want 6 volunteers for the Marine Corps quota for this month. So nobody put their hands up. So they went out, he went out with the guy there, and they, out about 2 or 3 hours, they come back, they said, well, we picked 6 of you guys, lucky guys out. You're going in the Marine Corps. So they read the names off. I was number 6. I was scared. Yeah. I was only young yet. Yeah. I had heard stories about Marines, they're crazy and everything else, and they're tough and everything else. I said, I don't know if I could do it. But then I made up my mind. I can do it. Because all my life, I believed in myself. I had hope. I had love. I had friendship. And I had faith. And I know I'm going to try it. I'm not going to quit. So when I went through training, I actually enjoyed it. I mean, my mind got stronger. My body got stronger. I got wiser. And then I graduated from boot camp. I knew who I was. I knew where I was heading. So then, it wasn't long after that, I went to California, Camp Pendleton, for advanced infantry training. Then I knew where I was going, because the Korean War was going on then. So after about 4 months of training, I mean really training, I got on a boat with 5,000, I guess it was, Marines, and we headed west. 23 days it took us to get there. All we saw was water, water, water. So I got to Korea. We landed. The boat couldn't get too close to the shore, so we had to walk maybe 100 feet to the shore in knee-deep water. Then we got on trucks, and the trucks took us to our different units that we were assigned to. So I ended up with a weapons company, Baker Company, 1st Marine Division. So I reported up there, and I said, here I am. So I met different guys there. We all got acquainted and everything else. And the lieutenant said, well, here's your weapon over there in the corner in a bunker. I looked over there, it was a flamethrower. Flamethrower weighs 68 pounds. I weighed 155.
Wow.
So I said, why me? There's guys here 6'2" going in there too, you know. And they were carrying 45s. So I said, well, I can't say no. You don't say no in the Marines. So I carried that about over 4.5 months and used it. It's a terrible weapon, but it's a weapon that could change a battle. In a battle, it could change it, actually. I mean, you can't imagine how many enemy you could kill in a minute with a flamethrower. Hundreds. So I eventually got on rocket launchers and machine guns. The rest of my tour, I spent 13 months in Korea. So I was wounded the one time, and I thought I was going to go to heaven. I was laying on the side of a mountain bleeding. And the Navy corpsman came and he found me. And he said, Joe, you ain't ready to go to heaven yet. You're going to go home someday. So he took me in a bunker. He dressed my wound up, and he sewed it shut with needle and thread. I survived. 6 weeks after that, he was killed. Navy corpsman Jackie Kilmer. He was killed. He threw himself over 2 Marines that were wounded, and a shell came in, and he received 15 pieces of shrapnel in his body, and he was killed. The boy won the Medal of Honor. I know him like a brother. I stayed in the same bunker with him in Korea. In fact, I had talked to his niece and nephew about a month ago. I spoke to them. They're in Texas yet. After all those years, we got together because they had heard that their Uncle Jackie saved my life somehow, and they wanted to talk to me. So I talked to them, both of them. It was a thrill, believe me. And then they had a service every year in Texas, in San Antonio, where they honor him. They named the hospital wing after him. And they had heard about him saving me, so they contacted me, and I wrote a piece, and they read it at the ceremony, the piece I wrote. I felt pretty good about that.
What were your thoughts when you were fighting the war? I mean, other than survival. I mean, what were your thoughts about the Koreans and why we were there and what we were doing, or was it just a matter of you doing your duty?
Sam, in Korea, there were so many enemy. I mean, the Chinese threw in 800,000 troops to help the North Koreans, and we weren't anywhere near that number. We must have been outnumbered 6 or 7 to 1. And in the battle, they just never ran out of ammunition. They never ran out of men, but we never ran out of courage. I mean, I don't think nobody won that war because we both suffered a lot of casualties. But we took a beating. We lost almost 6,000 Marines in Korea in 3 years. That's a lot of good men. I think the total number killed of Americans was around 50-some thousand.
When you came home, all right, how was it when you came home? What kind of reception was it? How did you react to being there for?
It was a little difficult for a while because I started going to the VA, talking to doctors up there, psychiatrists and that. I mean, you come home with wounds on the outside and inside.
Oh my God, yes, yeah.
We call them demons in your mind.
Yeah.
And you have to get them demons out of your mind somehow.
How'd you do it?
How'd I do it? Well, I got married a month after I got out. And it was a little hard. I guess it was hard on my wife too because wasn't what I was when I went in. I was a little bit different. But I worked 48 years of my life when I came out of the Marines. I never signed an unemployment check. I kept busy. I worked in PP&L for 27 years, and them guys never realized what I really went through. Because when they saw them later in my life, they said, geez, we didn't know you were like that. We didn't know you did that and that. It's a lot of veterans, they won't talk about a war because they can't find the words to describe them actually, I guess. But when I started writing, I started writing maybe 10, 11 years ago.
When did you start writing this book?
I started writing that about 9 years ago. Someone asked me to write an article about veterans in the Korea War in the Progress paper that's around the area. So I was only going to write a couple, but then I got involved in it. And I found out that writing helped me get rid of the demons.
Wow, that's amazing. The book contains what?
No politics, no hate. It's about different parts of my life. I went back to when I was going to school, going to elementary school, high school. Then what I did after school, I went fishing quite a bit. I played baseball quite a bit. But then I got older. My kids all got older. I always said from me and my wife, two seeds, we created an orchard of grandchildren.
Oh, how many do you have?
13.
God bless you.
One great.
I have the greatest respect for veterans. I feel so sorry for the Vietnam veterans, World War II, World War I, but particularly Vietnam and Korean, what they had to live with. And even till today, some of the people that I know my age who were in Vietnam just suffer the pains. When you look at the flag, what does it mean to you?
It's a love. It's a love. I love the flag. Every year, this time of the year, the vets and the Legion in Freeland, we put out over 1,500 flags on every veteran's grave in their area. I enjoy doing that. I walk around that cemetery and I put a flag in a holder and I look at the stone there, and I see on there a lot of times Korea,
Yeah.
I go back to Korea then and I see these names there. Yeah. But the flag is what we fought for.
Yeah. And that's why I say when I see on televisions when they have these crazy people, okay, if you want to protest, that's one thing, but we have people in our government today that don't like America.
I know that, Sam.
Okay, and that's really the knife in your heart. And we have radicals in our government today.
I know that too.
Okay, and what that must mean to the veterans. I heard a story from a veteran about 3 weeks ago, and what they are now charging this person at the VA hospital that they didn't have to pay for before. And if anyone should be getting breaks in this life are people like you who've given their time and their entire lives. And that's sort of like really, you just wonder sometimes how we permit this to happen, Joe.
I don't know what's happened in this world anymore, in this country. It's a shame, actually. It seems that we're so divided, Sam, that one hand won't wash the other one's hand. Yeah. They won't agree with them at all.
You know what we're losing, Joseph? We're losing our faith.
I know that.
We're losing our religion. We're losing the fact that people aren't going to church anymore. They're not practicing their faith. They're becoming more secular. And I think we're paying the price for that.
We're going to pay the price for that.
And when you talk to some people, young people like that, they're enjoying the life of Riley. They got the SUVs. They're living good. Why should they care about church or God or religion? No matter what religion you are. I'm not pushing any religion here, but we're losing our faith. Are we bringing our children up the right way?
I think the kids today think that they have it as good as we have. We had it as good as they have it now.
No way.
Most of we don't.
No way.
I mean, we went through a lot growing up. Our generation.
Sure.
We went.
So you have pride, Joe. You have pride in your work. You have an ethic, and thank God. Hopefully, you've brought that down to your grandchildren. But sometimes it's difficult.
Well, my grandchildren are pretty patriotic. They help put the flags out.
I'm
too.
sure they do.
They're out there. In fact, my little 3-year-old great-grandson, he was putting flags in a holder the other day.
Folks, I'm talking to Joseph Barna, retired Marine. He'll be a Marine forever, served in the Korean War. Wrote this book, God Makes Angels and Navy Corpsmen. It's an interesting book, my friends. It's a time for us to really thank God for what we have and the fact that these veterans gave so much, particularly from those many of your families out there who've lost sons and daughters and friends and in any war. It was pathetic. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, 24/7, SSPTV.com. I'm amazed when I go to our website and I see the number of hits that all our shows are getting. And of course, we have a YouTube channel for those of you who have friends, no matter where in the world, that want to watch local programming, neighborhood shows. They're on our website as well as our YouTube. My guest today is Joseph Barna. He's a retired Marine. He is 92 years young. Korean vet, and he wrote a book, God Makes Angels and Navy Corpsmen, or Corpsmen. I want to read one thing, Memorial Day 2015, what he puts in his book. I've written until my pen has seemed to be out of ink. I write about all the sacrifices our veterans and their families have made. I try to tell the shared story of all veterans of all wars in my own words. On Memorial Day, it makes me feel great to see how many people come out to our parades and services to honor our country's fallen heroes. The crowds are large, and I'm filled with people who understand what the meaning of the day truly is. In Memorial Day, we have these Veterans Day, Memorial Days, days that we're able to pay homage to the veterans. In the book, okay, as you're writing this book, how did you remember all of the things, and you put it so eloquently in the book?
Sam, I don't know. I don't know how it came back to me, but it's. I usually get up in the morning early. I don't sleep too late, and I seem like I'm talking to somebody who's watching over me all the time. Mm-hmm. I said, you know, if you have that hope, love, friendship, and faith, you're never alone. I was never alone in Korea. I couldn't be all alone. Somebody's always with me, watching me. My job ain't finished yet. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go yet.
Recently you were at this the National Veterans Creative Arts Festival, and we have some pictures we'll show you. Joe was down. Tell me about this festival.
That festival has been going on, Sam, for 40 years.
40 years.
Every veteran in this country gets involved with that. There's 140 VAs in a country. They have what they call creative arts festival there. They have different categories. They have writing, they have dancing and music, they have crafts, they have 6 different categories. I get involved with creative writing. Mm-hmm. I've been lucky so far. The last 3 years now, I won 4 gold medals nationwide.
Now we're showing pictures. Who are some of these people that were?
They're all veterans from all over the country.
There's this one lady you're with on the picture.
Well, she might have been in charge of our group. Okay. They break the groups up in different categories that they teach. You could, like I say, you win in the local VA Wilkes-Barre, you get a gold medal. Yeah. They ship that story to a national in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. Where there's about 30 judges, mm-hmm. and they go over that writing. Mm-hmm. If they like it and make it a gold, mm-hmm. then I win first place. Mm-hmm. I go 5 days to a different city, mm-hmm. and it's a beautiful trip, believe me. And like I said, I won 2019 in Kalamazoo. I won 2020 on video. They have no service in 2020 because of the virus, flu. But I won one this past year. I was in St. Petersburg, Florida. I mean, they fly you down, they put you in a Hilton hotel, nice hotel. They have something going all 5 days, something different. We had a concert, we had different shows on there. It showed one sailor who had lost his leg. He was actually dancing with girls on the stage there one night in a wheelchair. Uh-huh. But the people you meet, there's only actually about 147 gold medal winners in the whole country. I'm very fortunate, believe me, to be one of them guys.
But just to meet these people and
it's so beautiful to be with them.
Yeah.
Because they're the same as you.
Yeah.
They've been through it.
Is this open to the public?
The public is invited to attend it, the ceremonies and that. Yeah. And like I said, I go down there, and that's part of the stuff there.
So when you're looking at these are all veterans
they're all veterans.
Art, you know, yeah. I mean, some of this work is just fantastic.
And they're all veterans.
If you Google National Veterans Creative Festival, It was at St. Petersburg, Florida. You'll see this. I mean, what a beautiful tribute it is.
It is. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
They fly us down, put us in a big hotel, all of our meals,
Yeah.
and then they give you all kind of different gifts and everything, you know.
Oh, that's good. Well, you had a good time.
Oh,
well, you
that's
deserve it,
beautiful.
Joseph. The book, my friends, God Makes Angels and Navy Corpsmen, is available at Amazon or at Barnes & Noble. You have some names you mentioned to me. You said I didn't know. You want to tell me that paper there? There were some people, I'm sure some relatives are watching. Who are these people that you're going to talk about?
In World War II, the Marine Corps took young kids, if the parents signed the papers, to let
World
them
War
go.
II now.
World War II, in the islands, with the Japanese and the Marines. They fought all in big battles. And we had 8 boys here, from 14 to 17, that were killed there. I'd like to read the names for you.
Yes.
Robert Fox was killed at Tarawa. He was 15. Herman Gibbs, 15. He was on a ship that was sunk off one of them islands on there. James O'Connor, Iwo Jima, he saw that flag being raised. He was 16, killed in action. Philbert Williams on Guadalcanal, 16, he won the Medal of Honor. Jack Cook, killed on Guadalcanal, 14. Carl Reddick, Guam, 17, was killed on Guam. Bruce Covington, Guam, 16, killed. Clifford Morris, he's a prisoner of war at Iwo Jima. The young boys, they gave their life for this country.
And when you hear those names, and it was World War II, and you think of the families, okay? This is interesting here. You write in the book on Veterans Day 2015, I've been asked by a few people why I write of war, wounded boys and men, and those who fight and die for our country. I do not write trying to glorify myself. I try to speak for those who cannot speak or cannot find their own words. My heroes are all veterans, those alive today and those who are no longer living. So it's interesting, again, how patriots and people feel about their country and what they did. And I don't think we could ever thank them enough. It's sometimes words are easy to say, but when you're talking to a family that lost a loved one, a husband, a wife, a son, a daughter, a nephew, that's why we should have much more respect for the flag and the Patriots Day we are.
Sam, I watched many flags being folded in the cemetery. I belong to the Honor Guard in Freeland, and any veteran who dies will get a military service. And I see a flag being folded. It kind of hurts.
It certainly does.
And
do they still play taps?
yes, we'll go out on Memorial Day. The Legion and the vets split up into 2 groups. We get about maybe 7 or 8 in each group. We'll go to every cemetery in the area, every monument, veteran memorial, and we'll have prayers being said. We'll have a firing squad fire a volley, and we'll have taps played.
Now let me tell you about taps. You're looking at a person here who used to play taps at the veterans.
I heard you did.
Yeah, I had a trumpet, played trumpet, and some of the funeral homes would hire me to, and I would have to be in a distant part of the cemetery, and playing it, and when you would see the reaction of what it was just amazing.
Yeah, when I hear taps, I kind of choke a little bit,
Yeah. Well,
Because
Joe, I can't thank you enough for.
There was one incident, Sam, in Korea one time, in a big battle in a hill. Our company lost 80% of our men. So after 3 days, they got us off the hill. They couldn't get us off because the enemy was looking down at us, so they could pick us off like in a barrel. So they took us back to the reserve area, and they said, go in that tent and sleep for 2 days. We didn't sleep for 3 days. Nothing to eat, nothing. They took us in a truck to a cemetery. And in the cemetery, it was a Marine cemetery, with a white picket fence around. I could still see it. And a little tree in the middle, and a creek running down the middle of it. And there was a bunch of people standing there. There was a Korean president was there, and a Marine general. They were having a service. There was 10 caskets laying on the ground. Marines that were killed in a battle. 10. I don't know why they didn't send them home. Maybe they were blown up so bad they didn't want to send them home. But we had the service, and the Korean president gave us all a Presidential Unit Citation Medal. And the guys who were wounded got Purple Heart medals off the general. Before they put them caskets in the ground, we all took off our medals and put them on the caskets. God got 10 angels that day.
Yes, he did. Joseph, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Now listen, when you're 100 years old, you're going to come back and we'll talk, well, we'll get you on before that. Then we'll have a big celebration. The book, God Makes Angels and Navy Corpsmen, my friends.
It's a good book. It's a good book.
It's a good reading book. It's something that you should all read. And when you see a veteran, thank them. We'll see you next time.